I got invited by the DSS. It was on Sunday, and they kept calling. So I prepared my mind that I may be staying in the DSS office. I may be detained for like 5 days. And that in itself has its own psychology. All right. Because you're thinking about your children. I've got a 6-year-old boy. I've got a 4-year-old girl, and my wife is not. It's not particularly like me. She's not, a rugged type. So you're thinking about that and all those psychological. I was prepared for it, but I mean, it's a different thing if you don't have a family, but that's fine. So by the time on yesterday morning, I had barely slept, on over the night because of the psychology of the fact that if you don't come back from this DSS, where you they go. Thankfully, the DSS were circumspect and professional enough to know that there wasn't anything wrong with a rally, a gathering. It's our opinion. All right, we feel that the 2000 and last year's election, 2024 election was not properly conducted. Even when the Supreme Court has taken a decision, we still have our opinion, and we have a right to our opinion. And nobody can begrudge us for having a right to our opinion. That's how we feel about it. Now we have a right to express it. And what we called it was a rally. We didn't make mention of the state government. We didn't make mention of any, we didn't talk about the governor. We just said, look, we want to commemorate what happened, that they were displeased with. It's our opinion. That's why I think that the DSS was circumspect enough. It just, appealed because a couple of things that happened in Nepal and everybody was being, conscious of it. So I came home yesterday. I must thank the professionalism and the candor with which the DSS crew, led by the director, spoke, were well received, well treated in spite of the pressures from certain corners, detained them, and all that. But at least we're glad to know that we haven't degenerated to that level where people take actions at the whims and caprices of individuals. It's still democracy and the rule of law. So I couldn't go out yesterday. I mean, by the time I came home, I couldn't do the live yesterday. By the time I came home, I just barely had something to eat and I slept. That's why a couple of people had come into my DMs, people had called me. I had to call one of them, Jacob, and to say, don't worry, I wasn't rearrested, because we had an experience like that last year where I was arrested, taken to court by the police, granted bail, that day. By the evening, DSS was still calling me. Next day, I had to go to DSS, was interrogated, and I was reporting in DSS office for, a month. I mean, for a month. On every Tuesday, I was going to DSS office by 12 noon. So, how I don't first see, so a couple of things. So I couldn't apologize. I'll be live by 2 p.m. today. I just came back from the gym. I said, why they develop small muscles since APC say they'll beat us anytime we gather. At least maybe me go still self-fit. Maybe I'll handle 1 or 2, persons before they go, flatten me for ground. I mean, to think that this is where we have got into, that's fine. That's fine. A couple of people say, but you too, you threatened people last year. The video came out and I was arrested for it. I keep telling people I was arrested for it. When there's a wrong, there must be a remedy. I was arrested for it. I was detained. I was charged to court for it, detained for it. And I was granted bail. I was going to court very, very regularly until the matter was dispensed of. And more importantly, it was an action that I personally regretted. And I have personally apologized to a couple of quarters, especially my church members. All right. So when people say, "But you self do them now," when the video came out last year, it is the same guys, the same you that condemned me for doing it. All right. But you don't have any problem with somebody else who's doing it. Who is saying such a thing? Because if it was, I used to say we're all hypocrites in this country. Because you're in APC now, it's okay for somebody to threaten you, kill you out. Even the one way the girl inside, we're supposed to trust God for husband. They say, I will beat you out, break your head. So you're telling your husband where you go marry, say, if you marry me in a crisis, our house go there. So we will not use our own hand because of politics, tear our destinies into pieces. All right. So we're all hypocrites in this country. All the people who condemn Olumatun, they threaten, it's okay. All right, because It's Olu Martins. Now somebody else is, people are even saying worse. One person will go, they say when I come out, for you to buy 2 plants. And these are people who go to school. So it's okay if somebody who is in your party, if he favors you, it's okay that somebody threatens. But if somebody else threatens, it's not. You are all hypocrites. You all go to hell. And you all liars. That's what you guys are. But that's fine. The price for leadership is calumny and castigation. And we got to pay the price. We can't leave the field. We can't leave the space for miscreants and nitwits and invalids. Socrates says the price to pay for non-participation is that you're governed by lesser mortals, and there are lesser mortals everywhere in the political space today, especially in APC. Barely educated people, barely enlightened people. You may not even be educated, but you're enlightened. You've mixed, you've interrogated, you've refreshed your mind, you've renewed your mind. You're a different person entirely, even in spite of your education. But we're barely educated people, barely traveled people, barely interact people, people who have barely interacted, people who have been, barely exposed, people who have just been in one spot, born here, didn't go to school, you're right here, from Agbero, you had the opportunity to, and there's nothing wrong with, having to start from that level. But if you now want to play at a higher level, you've got to improve the shortest of your mind. You've got to improve yourself. You can't hold a public office and you're threatening people. I didn't hold a public office, but you can't hold a public office as SSA, as SA, and chairman of a party. And then you are threatening, you break your head. Like I said, people say, well, you said talk about I was arrested. So if I said it and I was arrested, the police should go after these guys. They should be arrested. They should be interrogated. They should be charged to court. All right. The DSS should also invite them, because what is good for the pregnant woman is also good for the man that gave her the pregnancy. We can't have 2 laws. We can't have a law that works for people in PDP and have a different law that works for people in APC. That's unacceptable. But let's save our breath. 2 p.m. live on air, Facebook on this, so that we can, properly discuss and dissect certain fundamentals and put certain things in the open. So, like Albert will say, get your popcorn, charge your phone, both recharge and charge, both charge and recharge, and then so we can interact and educate us. Nobody is more Edo than any other person. Nobody, there's no inferior Edo man. If you live here, you do business here, you've been here for upward of 2 years, whether you were born here, your parents are here or not, as long as you have a stake here, you are an Edo man, and nobody is superior to you. So nobody can push us aside and intimidate us and cow us. And simply because you have the backing of government. Where were some of you when Obaseki was in power? Where were you? So you're not courageous. You're not strong people. Go and talk to people who were strong enough to criticize Oshiomhole. Strong enough to criticize Oshiomhole. Go and talk to people who were strong enough to speak out when they disagreed with Obaseki. Many of you didn't see anything. You couldn't see anything. You were in the cooler. You have just been in the corridors of power for how long now? For 8 months, and you're even pawns. Even pawns in the whole game. It's now that you book. We'll talk by 2 p.m. And some of you are invited, to come to talk, because I'm used to your talk. All right, fake pastor, pastor. Go and face your church. Go and face your small eatery. You are hungry, and those are period talks of palm wine drinkers that are not educated. The real talk of people will look at the substance of what you're talking about and engage you at that level. So, it's a country of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And politics is a leveler. So I expect that some of you guys will enter into the live, either as spies or as in the normal, your puerile contribution. It's okay. Leadership must accommodate everybody. That's what leadership is. You can't pick and choose. Unfortunately, we have decided to dance in the power space, and the power space is a rough space. So